Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Come on, kids, let's have a bit of energy here. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. One of the basic facts of life here, and we brought up into, is we brought up into a Sikh family. We're very privileged. Now, I know you're all engaging into Sikh in your own way, and there's no commitment or obligation to be becoming a Mathali or whatever. But Sikhism itself, being a Sikh, means being a student. And I myself, you know, with my white daddy and everything else, I'm getting to that point. I'm still studying, still engaging with Gurbani, and ultimately with the realities of life. Now, my name is Upkar Singh Wright. I'm from British Sikh Council. We engage with youths within universities and campuses to engage and give you the information you require to fulfill your life fulfillment of having the knowledge to go through life. Now, we sponsored Dr. Harshinder Kings, who's the foremost speaker from India, from Punjab, and female feticide and infanticide. She will explain through the detail, go through the details of what the difference between the two is, because a lot of people don't understand what the fundamental difference is. So I'll have Dr. Harshinder Kings, please answer.
You've all made me speechless today. Actually, the spiritual experience which I had today, I have never experienced it earlier, not even in Punjab, because I've traveled very far right and I've not seen it anywhere. So I really thank you for all this. And today what I'm going to talk to you, I think you're already so enlightened what I've seen, but still I have to mention some things, because these are the things which the United Nations, let me introduce myself. I am recently by United Nations I've been declared as International Human Rights Activist. So I'm talking about those things which the latest studies which we have been told, and also one issue that we are being labelled as Kuri Mars or killers of our daughters again and again. But this thing I've already proved at the international level that we are not amongst the ones who were at the top. Rather, this is the thing which was occurring when the Punjabis never existed even. See, the issue of female feticide is not as simple as is generally assumed. It has so many diversifications and ramifications as regards the reasons, and hence the management of this problem is proving to be vexed and difficult. As we go on to understand the minute details of human psyche, it becomes easier to understand the causes behind this heinous crime, and also sheds light on the interventions required to tame this menace of female feticide and infanticide. Being a doctor, I can say with conviction that to treat any disease, a proper diagnosis is must. Similarly, if we try to solve this widespread malady without having an in-depth knowledge about its causes, effects, and complications, we shall failure on every front. The recent census of India 2011 corroborates this. Let us first look at the facts and then draw relevant inferences. This is the only way we can take some positive steps towards stopping this crime. It is well-known fact that female infanticide has been practiced since ages and in all civilizations like Greek, Roman, Aztec, European, American, and Canadian. The possible reasons have been inferred by anthropologists and social scientists from the excavations and the sources and other sources, and these are that the females of those ages were severely malnourished and underweight with lesser heights than their counterpart males. The female children were usually sacrificed during the natural calamities to invoke the blessings of the god. The possible reasons were that women were considered inferior to men and were thought to be only of one use, that is, increasing the number of tribes by bearing children, and hence majority of women were sacrificed wherever the number of people in the tribes were. Another reason of killing was the risk of attack by men from other tribes who desired to own a beautiful female member of any tribe. The census of India data over the past 100 years reveals a picture of random downward and upward trend in the sex ratio in Punjab, as you can see in this film. And I want to tell you that you can see from 1901 it was 832, and in 1911 it fell down to 780, and then it gradually increased, and in 2001 it was 876. When there was near about it was the advent of ultrasound, and you can see even after advent of ultrasound there is still an increase. And if you see now in 0 to 6 years age group, that is after birth when the female reaches this age, again you can see the lowest was at 2001 and then again it has increased. Now this is a well-known fact that in 1901, at that time there was no ultrasound detection facility available and no PNDT Act was there to take care of such sex detection. The disastrous fall in the number of young girls compared to those of boys makes it very apparent that it was the lack of parental care, if not willful killing of the young daughters, that was the reason of missing girls in Punjab from 1901 onwards. If there were no NGOs or religious or social organizations active at that time, as per records, the fighting for the rights of the girl child, it clearly indicates that it was the rising demand of girls which led on to the increase in the ratio of females at that time. And this is corroborated by the statements of historians that due to acute shortage of females, girls were sold and purchased at exorbitant prices, especially as brides. This became the reason for survival of girl child, and there was gradual increase in the number of females since then. Even after the advent of ultrasound, there was gradual increase in the number of females, but I may tell you that with the increase of literacy rate in females in 2001, the ratio again decreased. This is something really odd, but this is what the international studies are telling us. The laws were made in 17th century. The first law is introduced in 17th century to dissuade the parents from killing their daughters, and religious statements were also issued by various preachers, but it never had any effect on the anti-girl psyche of the parents. The inferences thus which can be drawn from these facts are: the females were and are considered inferior to men. The females were and also are considered a burden on the family due to dowry. Crime against women was another reason for killing them. As the time advanced, in this male-dominated society, the people furthered the agenda of male preference by adding new reasons, as for carrying over the family name forward, for old age protection of parents, for ceremonies to be performed at the time of death, and negative points added with the female child were fears of crime against the women like rape, incest, and attack by invaders. Buying and selling of the bride was a common phenomenon, and sex trade thus has also been there since ages. After understanding all this, one can have some clarity in his or her mind that if female feticide could not be abolished since ages, then that means the underlying causes have to be tackled before we have any real hope of correcting this gender side. Only lectures and awareness campaigns by government, religious and social reformers have proved useless, as is very clear that people didn't obey even Guru Nanak Dev Ji's order that females should be considered equal to men and not shunned. It is wrong to even think that today anybody has that much following as of Guru Nanak Dev Ji's amongst Punjabis. So religious and political efforts or laws alone are not going to show too much of effect. Failure of P&ET Act to prevent feticide in India has shown its totally inefficacy. Now let us look at some medical disasters, because you are basically doctors, I think, which are attached with this female feticide and infanticide must be known. The recent damage which is being faced by the women is really worrisome, as there is a permanent loss of X chromosome lineage which is occurring due to selective killing of females in consecutive 2 generations. It leads on to the selective destruction of X chromosome linked characters. To make it simpler, I think majority of you know what is XY, but the thing which I really want to tell you is the X chromosome from the grandmother, which is going on to the son and then further into the granddaughter. That means the X chromosome lineage, which is starting from the grandmother through his son, is passing on to the granddaughter. Is if she is not allowed to take birth, that means all the characteristics which were there on the X chromosome of grandmother are lost forever. So this is a new shape which is being given in United Nations, that this type of genocide of one X chromosome which is occurring and people are not taking care of it, that means if 10.5 lakh girls are being killed, you can understand how many families are being wiped out permanently, and this type of gender side, it must be taken care of. Now, as is shown by a medical study, the lust for male child has forced many females in rural areas to take testosterone, that is male sex hormone, which is being prescribed by the quacks there and the RMPs also, which has led on to the increase in the incidence of carcinoma in females and also the birth of eunuchs to such females. The third disaster which is enoughing is the large-scale gene distortion due to gene admixture by bringing the brides from other areas for fulfilling the gap created by female feticide and infanticide in Punjab. For example, thalassemia gene of Punjab when mixed with sickle cell gene of Assam at a large scale can lead on to the origin of entirely different killer gene which may lead on to early death of number of offsprings and hence a danger to the entire population of Punjab. Apart from this, when a bride is brought from other culture or area, she brings into the family her own traditions, language as well as religion. Large-scale import of brides will sooner or later lead on to the dilution and ultimately demise of indigenous language and culture. Though cultural diversity is a positive phenomenon, as is very apparent in US and Canada and even in England, but the history, legacy, culture and language of indigenous population is lost forever, as is demonstrable amongst the native people of many developed countries of today. Now, after understanding the reasons behind these killings of females in a better way, we can say that strict implementation of PNDT, which is the Prenatal Sex Determination and Termination Act, has some ramifications which can be effective in tackling sex-selective abortions by prenatal sex determination and will be able to correct only one part of the issue of female gendercide, which is anyway a recent addition to age-old reasons for killing daughters. We have an arduous task ahead of us for attaining equal status for women, literacy of women so that we can know our rights and fight for our own, for survival of our daughter, curb the crime against women, stopping dowry altogether, changing the mindset of total dependence on sons in old age and carrying forward the family name. Now this was the work which I have done in Punjab, which I am working there in India also. That is, we have worked on the issue of under 5-year death of every female to be reported and investigated, and to avoid sex-related abortion, permission for abortion to be granted by a duly constituted medical board, fast-track courts for dowry, which is the demand, but it is still not existing there, for decreasing the crime against women and equality of women, but it is at a very preliminary stage. But I hope now you can understand that we have to go a long way to fight this menace, because this is not only in India. I may tell you that NRIs who are born and brought up in England and Canada and America and various other parts are coming to India to get their first girl child aborted, and there are so many complaints while I was in England. I've listened to them that still the females are suffering from domestic violence also, and those females who have born a girl child, they are also facing many problems in your country also. So that is why I am telling you, this is now the United Nations is really up to it to stop this at least some area. So that is why I just wanted to come here to make you aware that this is something which is going on and you should get up against this, because this is a long way to go and it was occurring since ages. So we together of course can help change the mindset of at least few people, making them understand the need for a female in propagation of species through X and Y chromosomes, which you can do it beautifully, and also saying absolute no to dowry, simple marriages, awareness campaigns, remembering our duty towards our legacy, culture and tradition, which you very beautifully are following, and this is which has given us identity to feel proud of. And in the end, I must say that with full conviction, there is no other form of violence that's more painful, more abhorrent and more shameful than female feticide. And my slogan, which is now registered with the United Nations, is Hail the Girl Child. And under this slogan, I was given a challenge by the United Nations that you people will never stop killing your daughters. And I said, the main issue which is there, the killing of the females, is due to dowry, which is becoming a #1 reason now. I said, let me tell you, my people are really up to it. They are aware of everything, and once they decide, they can do something. So I started this No Dowry campaign, and believe me, in just one day, 2,500 students from Toronto signed this campaign. 500 from Vancouver joined us. From America also there were 350 students, and I must congratulate you that in England I am here just for 4 or 5 days now, and around 600 of your people have already signed it, and we are going to send this petition to UN to tell them that we Punjabis are always number one whenever there is something good to be done for the society. So this is, you must be congratulated for this. And another thing for which the UN really has taken care of is that nowhere in the world, no community has done so what we have done. Is although I've told you that the killing of the girls has been going on since ages, but the celebration of the girl child has been done only and only by Punjabis in whole of this world. No other community or state or country has shown this. So again, this is something really good. But this new campaign which we have started, I really want you also to sign, so that those female